My story is called The Long Road. Toby was a wild horse. He was born and raised under vast vistas of land and sky. He spent most of his youth frolicking around with his band in pasture lands that seemed to stretch as far as the eye could see. His mother was his best friend and unfailing protector. His father was strong and stoic, but distant in a way that made Toby feel as if he may have wronged him in some way, or not been the son he may have hoped for. Though Toby was happy and spent a great deal of his years secure, he also carried the burden of the injuries he had sustained as a child. When he was born, he was unable to stand up as the others did, and suffered crippling injuries from a stallion belonging to another band. His savior was his mother, who for weeks protected Toby from the other stallions and roaming bands of banished males that were attempting to kill him. These efforts nearly took his mother's life. Once he was finally standing, Toby's mother collapsed and left Toby resting through the night by her side, licking her cheek periodically to try to wake her. Though Toby's mother recovered, it became clear that his mother would not always be there to protect him. Several more years passed with Toby's mother retaining her powerful status within their band. One night, Toby was awakened by a deep growl. Initially, he thought he was just dreaming and thrashed around to shake off his nightmare. After a few seconds, he realized he was not dreaming and that his band was under attack by mountain lions. He ran out into the darkness and called for his family, but they were all gone. For hours he called for his mother and father and called out to anyone who might be able to help or listen, but they had vanished. Finally, a call sounded out across the distance. It was a group of stray stallions. They told Toby they would protect him and be his new band. Toby trusted them and did everything he could to get along with his new proposed family. Very quickly, Toby realized that the stallions were cruel and violent, and he was starting to act just like them. He witnessed them beat other foals in the same way he was beaten as a child, and decided he needed to escape. Toby resigned himself to taking a long walk in the forest, knowing he would be alone, but at least he would be safe from the stallions. For days he neither slept nor ate. Starving, he ate an unfamiliar purple flower. He began having visions of his family. They were telling him to find his band, but he was sure his band had all perished. Initially, he rejected these visions and voices, but eventually the voices grew louder and told him that if he did not find his band, he may eventually become bandless forever, and spent his days acting out cruelest and senseless violence like the other bandless stallions. Toby was so hot and tired from his lack of food and water that he collapsed under a tree, hoping he might at least be able to cool off. After what felt like an eternity, he woke up. He felt a renewed sense of purpose and seemed to be moving in a direction that was deliberate and somehow born out of his newfound desire to find his remaining family. One day, many years later, Toby was roaming around looking for some of his favorite purple flowers. A chill went up and down his spine as he turned and saw a young female cougar cresting the ridge on which he was below. His senses went into overdrive and he froze. She slowly crept down towards him, never removing eye contact. Once she came within a few feet, he was sure he was done for. Even more slowly than before, she moved her body towards him. She got so close he could feel her breath upon his cheek. He closed his eyes and waited for his ultimate demise. She breathed in deeply, exhaled, and lunged towards him, knocking him down and licking his cheeks, face, and neck with the utmost affection. She explained that her mother was also a leader of her pack and retold the story of Toby's mother's vigilant fight against their pack that night. Her mother expressed guilt over killing so many of Toby's family members and told her daughter that if she was ever to see Toby again, it was her duty to redirect him to his band. Toby was in total disbelief. He had felt like a faceless wanderer for so many years and was unable to understand why he felt such a depth of pain and guilt. He had a family waiting for him all along. Toby and the cougar traveled for many, many miles around winding canyons and across rivers. Finally, they came upon the very fields that Toby ran through as a foal. Excited, he whinnied loudly. After no answer, he did so again. Suddenly, there was a subtle vibration in the earth, which felt as a gentle pounding beneath his hooves. This subtle vibration erupted into a thunder of hooves that could be felt for miles around. At this moment, Toby knew he was finally home. But where was his mother? He tried using the call he would when he was just a foal, but she never came. After some time, he found one of his cousins who told him his mother had passed shortly after the cougar attack from the injury she had sustained trying to defend Toby and their band. Toby was incredibly sad to have lost his mother. At the same time, he had found his family and felt his mother's spirit alive in all of them. He was finally at peace.